Ah, finally it's recording. So much problems recording, and okay, this is like part two. So part one, just shortly. Yeah, I'm just playing this game because in quarantine I don't want to put a lot of time trying to get in front of a camera. Maybe I'll do that later, but yeah, right now, uh, I mean, you can even just play your own game while you're listening to me. But yeah, so part one I talked about, yeah, how things went with my mom. Yeah, how they've been treating me, and I've paying 160,000 euros for 20 years to live here, and in the end they're just kicking me out, and no consideration that I have all these memories here, and you've been treating like a dog really, and it's just so upsetting. And I mean, like at that 160,000, I could have like what yeah, could have I could have had a small house, or at least uh, a large part of a normal house. I could have been a homeowner mostly, and so paying rent is, I mean, it could be a necessity for you, like if you're really young and you can't do anything, you might think it's a necessity, but in the end, every time you yeah, every time, every month you pay your rent, you're giving money away to somebody to fund their home, and to build, you're funding them, paying off their mortgage, and if you have a really high mortgage, you are just giving a lot of money to the bank, because certainly in the beginning you're just paying so much on rent, and so very little actually is going into your own home. And when you get into problem, when and you're really, especially if you have too high a mortgage, you really depend on being able to keep paying those bills, and in the end you just overpaid because you took such a high mortgage, because the whole housing market is so overblown. You're paying, like, if you compare, like, let's say you want a boat, like let's say you buy a boat for 300,000 euros. Man, you could have like one of those really, that would be a huge boat, right? It would be a very special, big, huge yacht, sailing boat, whatever. You could probably like, could be like, you could buy like a brand new, a 20-meter sailing yacht. You could you can fit 20 people in there, and you could just travel around the world. Well, maybe those are like €1 million, but yeah, you get my drift. You can get a really nice boat for 300,000, and 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 in Holland for 300,000 you can get just like an average home, an average house, like especially like where I live in my town, like in the center of Holland, where the prices are pretty like overblown. You're just paying to live in the busy area, and you can say, well, there's more jobs there, it's more fun, and sure, I was born and raised here, so that's the main reason why I live here, and I'm very reluctant to go away because I love this town. I've worked as a postal worker for a while and just love these beautiful old buildings, and it's just super cozy, But the thing is that um, you're not. There's certain things, like three things. Like one is paying rent, one is like being an employee, and the other thing is high mortgage. And those three things combined are poverty. They're poverty because why? Because and high risk, because you are completely dependent on your monthly income to either pay that high mortgage or pay your rent. If you, for some reason, maybe sickness, illness, your business going bankrupt, any reason you don't have that income, you have no freedom. You're really like, if you get a like 20-year mortgage, you need to pay the mortgage for 20 years, and if you don't, yeah, you're gonna lose that home, and bank is gonna take that house. Um, if then you're forced to sell, if it's a bad market, you lose a lot of money on that home. So like that things like that happened like many years ago. um, when there was like when economic was really bad. So it would be much less risky actually to think about how you could have a home to sleep in, a place to sleep in, without the huge risks of not being able to pay a high mortgage, or yeah, try to figure out how can you do this without the risks. And I mean, it seems very like, oh, I want a family, I want to have kids, I have a good job. Sure, you can have all those things, but uh, let's like the, think about it this way, like you're not gonna start out with 3 kids straight away, right? Right. So it's gonna take a while for your first kid and your second kid, your third kid. So maybe you could start out, and a lot of people do that, in something that's more affordable, and then like you can just and then that means you have a lower risk on your mortgage. You can just pay it off quicker. Yeah, the payments on your mortgage is lighter. You have less interest. So yeah, think about it like that, and don't think about now like, oh, I want it now. Oh, I have this beautiful house. Yeah, it's, oh, we cannot, but darling, we cannot afford it. And I mean, if you want to take risks, go for it. Like, go for that house. Oh yeah, but my boss is gonna give me a raise and stuff, and blah blah blah. Oh, you know, go for it. But you're really like, now you're locked into every month paying more than you actually can afford. You maybe you cannot go out, have a nice dinner. That's gonna have affect your relationship if you know you can even have a good time once in a while. If you would have gone for maybe a house that's just a little bit smaller, or and I'm even going for like thinking about like tiny houses. Like tiny house can be yeah, they're a lot smaller and much more affordable. But because of that, because uh, they're not that affected by the crazy the market prices, because yeah, it's just a different world. It's a different system, and I mean, the idea about a tiny house is you can even just build, yeah, like actually they're designed to be put on a trailer, so like you can move that house from one location to the other. So you're not even dependent on your location, and sometimes they give you like temporary locations, and you can live there, you stay there for 10 years and you have to move or something. But um, yeah, the appealing part about it's just more like, if you like, it's gonna be hard to, the prices of homes are so high. Where are you gonna get, how are you gonna get an affordable house unless you do something like weird or crazy or whatever? Or you're gonna be forced to pay rent, which, like I explained earlier, you're just paying somebody else's house. You're paying their mortgage when you're paying rent. And I mean, you can start off like that, but like I paid like 20 years, I lived in this house, paying rent. Actually, my mother did, but I helped her, like a fair share of my money went to her, uh, drinking and smoking and whatever. Like, at least she stopped drinking at one point. But yeah, it's like yeah, we paid 160,000 euros, and what do we got to show for it? Like, they're just gonna evict me after she dies. You know, you could treat me like a dog. You know, I'm not worth nothing. I have no value to them. They treat me. I mean, I have never been treated this bad in my life. Actually, what they've done is the lowest of the lowest. What has happened in my life to me? Like, you know, even like people who have beaten me or punched me in the face. I think that's like what less worse what they're doing. You know, they're taking away the home that I lived in with my mom, that I have memories of, and there's nothing I can do about it. Now, maybe in the end, I don't know. Maybe I will be able to stay here some way. But this is actually what they're trying to do. They're trying to, this is what they're saying, like, oh well, just go away, and because we don't want you here, and doesn't care. We don't care about your mom dying. You're being like taking care of her for 20 years. We don't really care any about those things. That those things don't matter. You don't matter, and these are just like, we're just following the book. We're following the rule book. And this is how annoying life is. So when you think that paying rent is a good idea, that is the only option you have. I mean, maybe you have to do something a bit crazy to not pay rent. Maybe you have to live in a van. Maybe you have to buy a camper for like 10, 20, 30,000 euros and live in that for like a year or 2 years. But at the end of those 2 years, you are an owner of that van. You actually are an owner of a little mini house that you can sell again. You can sell your van for like for 20,000 euros, and a bit less or a bit more, whatever. But you can get most of that money back, and that you put in it, and you have lived in it, so you didn't pay rent for like 1 or 2 years. Plus you have now money that goes towards maybe buying a tiny house, and you didn't pay. You did it without having to apply for a mortgage. You did it without having to pay for like interest. And now like if anything would have happened to your income, you would have just been able to stay in there because you had such low monthly bills. And all that extra money you're saving can go towards your business, can go towards your new house, your next step in your housing, your housing plans. So instead of like that money, that 500 euro rent, that would have been just like went down the drain. So is it a bit crazy to do like fan life? Maybe like, but look at positive things. Like if you can work from your home, if you like me, you can build websites and applications with your laptop. I can just go in my van, go to France, go to Spain, go to Africa, and open my laptop, and it doesn't really matter because I can talk to people in Holland, in America. I can have like an international business from maybe I can visit my friend Precious in Nigeria, and I don't know if he has a garden or something. Maybe I could just park my van in his garden, and live in Africa for like a few weeks or months, or and just live there and enjoy. They have this great adventure, and experience how it is to live in another country for once in my life, and I'm even like saving money. Now saving money, it doesn't, and it sounds like I'm like Dagobert Duck, like this guy is trying to be like, oh, I don't want to frugal, I don't want to spend money and stuff. But if you are a business person, if you're business minded, you think about liabilities and assets, and you want to avoid every liability. Now a liability is something that costs you money, and an asset is something that gives you money. And now there's some things that you need in life. You need food. That's never going to be an asset. You could say, well, I put good foods in my body and healthy food, so I'm going to be a good worker. And yeah, you could see like healthy eating as an asset, but those things are mostly like liabilities. Those are things that you like living. You need to live somewhere. Paying for that is most of the times a liability, especially when it's rent. But if you have bought the property you are living in, if it's a van, a tiny house, a yacht, and you are spending some time there and not paying any rent and to live anywhere else, you are actually acquiring that asset, and at that moment it's costing you money because you're buying it. But at the end of the road, after a couple of months of living in there, and like I could sell my van, either buy a bigger van, maybe I can even already buy a tiny house, maybe I want to go maybe on a big sailboat and travel maybe the world. I could like travel. I know it seems very risky, but who knows? Or maybe just go around like Europe. Could travel the coast of Europe, go from Holland to like across the just follow like France, Spain, go all the way around, maybe to Greece, and then end up like parking my boat in Greece, North Africa, and just spending time there in these beautiful countries, working, just opening my laptop, and communicating with the rest of the world from my boat. Well, meanwhile, it's not costing me anything because, sure, normally I would have paid rent, and after this boat is not going to be free. But if I also take good care of the boat, once I start like hopping towards, then like if I want to buy a house or a tiny house or something else after that, all the money I put in that boat, a lot of it, will come back to me. Maybe I even like paint it and make it a real like upgrade job where I maybe buy a really cheap boat. Maybe I buy a 10,000 euro yacht that's like completely broken down, and then I will like take it out of the water and paint it. I'm a painter, so I can just paint it all up, and then maybe it will increase in value from a 10,000 euro boat. By the end I'm done with it. I put like 10,000 euros in it with fixing equipment and stuff, and then by the end of the day it will be like a 30,000 euro boat. I make 10,000 profit, and I live in it, and yeah, I'm not paying rent or mortgage, so I save like the triple threat. Like I live like pretty much for free. I not just free, I make money on it. I'm not paying rent and losing money. So it's like free living, actually free living, making money and not losing money. So it's like three. But yeah, sure, maybe I'm living in a yacht, I'm fixing up the yacht and living there and working for. And now is there going to be downsides to that? Like yeah, I'm not going to have fast internet. I can't just like hook up. I'm not. It's not going to be cheap to. But actually, not right now. My phone. I have a subscription plan, 5 gigabytes a day. Now, 5 gigabytes a day, and actually it's unlimited. So I could just add like if I would run out of 5 gigabytes, I could just apply for another 2 gigabytes. So now, if I want to download a game like that's 100 gigabytes, 5 gigabytes, yeah, it's not the same as having a subscription like in a normal home. But like when it comes to web development, how much I can do with 5 gigabytes a day. Even so I could just take my phone, go on a boat, go on and work. So yeah, I get like this financial freedom. I get like I can put all those financial freedom into like developing my business, and like even and that's the thing, like business is risks. You like last year I made nice money with my business, and then it all went a bit bad, and especially with Corona is really bad, but that's part of business. So and then I'm now making plans what I'm going to do and how I'm going to deal with this situation. So that's business. But yeah, so this is my like no rent. So this is I'm just talking about not paying rent and how you can get to that. I hope I've given you a lot of ideas, and maybe you're crazy enough to like even think about, well, yeah, I'd rather be financially independent than like just do what everybody else is doing, what seems to be the safest thing bet to do. But you're actually not safe, because you're not safe paying rent. I mean, maybe it's convenient living in like a basic building. I mean, but the thing is that the basic buildings they're so convenient that over the every like yeah, you have to pay the price. There's a high price to this convenience, a bit too high price, I think, actually, to this convenience. And unless you can actually pay for it, if you have money in the pocket, if you can pay out of pocket 200,000 euros and then buy like a building that's like 250, and you mortgage the 50, that's no problem. But if you can, unless like you have a very low mortgage, or like you buy 300, like you have 200,000 and you buy 300,000 home, and then you mortgage the 100,000, you can pay that off in a couple of years. I mean, it's going to be the interest rates. You're going to have like a 15% interest on that 100,000. You're going to pay 15,000 extra interest. So, but if you're buying a 300,000 home and then gonna spend 30 years paying that off, and by the end of that 30 years, your interest is gonna be like 100% of what you paid. So you're gonna own that house, but you paid like twice what the original cost was. Now, even if maybe that house now is like 30% higher in value because economics are good, but it would have, I mean, if you're a business person, you always go for the most efficient way to go about your money. And at this point, just even if you are doing financially really well, why, like, liabilities, you always want to you want to keep your liabilities as low as possible. So unless you are sure that in 10 years you can sell your house for twice the price as you're buying it, or like for like 20 or 30% higher, and you don't have, and but it depends on like how much your interest rate is and everything, and you're sure that you can cover those mortgages for that period. I mean, you could probably either you're break even, but an asset is something that you actually make money on. So you would rent out your property to somebody else, and this is like the difference between somebody who is breaking even and somebody who is actually making money. So for those people that actually want to have a business that actually like they exponentially grow their business and just keep going bigger and bigger and bigger, they find ways to extremely lower their liabilities and extremely increase their assets. And maybe I will have to live in a van for a few months and travel Europe, go to France and Spain and Italy and Africa, and just work from a laptop, but I don't know. It's like I don't know. I might be forced to do it. I don't know. Like, because my other options would be to like either pay, like at this moment, if I need to go from where I'm living now, I would have to rent a small room somewhere, and then I'll probably pay the same amount as I'm paying now, and then I have like maybe a 4x4 room, which could be okay. But why would I do that? Why would I, like, if I'm gonna downgrade, why not do it in France? Why not do it in Spain? Why not have some adventure, man? I'm cooked up here in my home for like months now. I wouldn't mind like traveling the world and doing things, and anyway, enough ranting and talking about all this stuff. Good luck, have a beautiful day, and talk to you guys later.